Today's demo lesson is all about the telephone. I'm going to talk about phrases and idioms that you use. I'm going to talk about ways we answer the phone, how we ask questions on the phone, some common replies, some idioms, and I'm also going to go through the homework so you have an idea of what to expect from doing this lesson. So if that's something you're interested in, stay tuned to find out more. Hey, I'm Michael with Michael's Business English. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Michael Rincon, a former six-figure data analyst turned ESL instructor and career coach. I help non-native English speakers like you with your work life and career to increase your value. If you're new here on this channel, we talk about business English, communications, and career development. So if you're into that, make sure you like and subscribe. And all the descriptions mentioned in this video can be found in the comment section below. All right, so for today's business English lesson, we're going to talk about business telephone communication. So when we're talking about telephones, this can also talk about cell phones. So telephones, typically in an office, you have a physical phone that you use. If you're not familiar with that, if you've seen like a physical, like a phone, I'll show you a picture in a second. But today's objectives include to use common vocabulary around business telephone conversation, including introducing oneself, asking for someone, asking who is calling, and taking a message. To practice common telephone idioms, such as tied up, stepped out, and to practice common phrasal verbs used in telephone conversations, such as hold on, hang up. All right, let's begin. So this is a warm-up slide, introduction to telephone communication. Here's what I was talking about. This is the old-fashioned phone that you see in offices. Gigantic phone compared to the cell phone with all these different features. For a lot of reasons, we still have these phones for workplace. It's just easier for many reasons to have a physical phone. But when we're speaking on the telephone, we use some phrases and idioms that we don't usually use in conversation. And so some warm-up questions for you guys to think about. How many phone calls do you make each day? What percentage of your workday is spent on the phone? And do you prefer to call or send an email? Now, each person is going to have different answers to these questions because it depends on your job. So, example telephone dialogue. So, this is a demo walkthrough. So, the receptionist says, "Hello, Brooks Company. How can I help you?" And Kevin says, "This is Kevin Stevenson. Can I have extension 3421? Reception says, "Sure, hold on a minute, I'll put you through." So a couple things I want to point out here. Extension, if you don't know what that means, is that in companies, usually there's one phone number for a company, and each individual person has the exact same phone number, but they have an extension that's directly to them. So you may have noticed on emails, in the footer of an email where someone will say, "Here's my phone number, extension and 4 digits." That's how you get in touch with them if you want to get them on their work phone. Some phrasal verbs here. So put someone through, put you through, right? So put someone through is a phrasal verb with the direct object between the verb and the participle. What do you think put you through means, right? This is actually concept check. This is a test to see your understanding. This is a way of challenging you to not just try to find the definition every time, but for you to think in English and try to derive meaning from vocabulary. Because as you go throughout your career, you're going to notice that people introduce new vocabulary that you may not have heard before. It happens all the time. I was talking to a boss, my last job almost a year ago, and we had a one-on-one meeting, and she said something that I thought was weird. She said, "It's in the wheelbarrow. It's in the wheelhouse." I was like, what does that mean? Right? I'm a native English speaker. I should know that, but I don't. Because sometimes people come up with these terms that not everyone uses. So it's important to be able to think in English and to be able to derive meaning from context. So here's another example telephone dialogue. John. Daniel Frank's office, John speaking. So notice how John is introducing himself. Daniel Frank's office, John speaking. Kevin. This is Kevin Stevenson calling. Is Daniel in? So this is Daniel Frank's office, and this is how Kevin introduces himself. John. I'm afraid he's out at the moment. Can I take a message? So in this context, the word in, right here, means in the office, and the word out here means out of the office. So do one more thing. So notice out at the moment. Is Daniel in? Look at the short form vocabulary that's being used here. Right? So this now gets continued. Yes, could you ask him to call me at 755-1234? Could you please repeat the number? See how it's perfectly okay to ask someone to repeat the contact information. Sure, that's 755-1234, and this is Kevin Stevenson. Thank you, Mr. Stevenson. I'll make sure that John gets the message ASAP. So what does ASAP mean? Right? Interesting acronym. So if you don't know what ASAP means, it means as soon as possible. So when someone says ASAP, that usually has a sense of urgency too. That's because you do like, I need this taken care of as soon as possible. I need this taken care of right away. I need this taken care of now. Make it a priority. So keep that in mind. So here are some ways you can answer the phone. Company name, this is person's name. How can I help you? Good morning, afternoon, evening, depending on the time. Like this is person's name. How may I direct your call? So person's name is you, right? So for example, Michael's Business English. This is Michael. How can I help you? Right? Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, right? Whatever time it is for you. This is Michael Rincon. How may I direct your call? Hello, Michael speaking. What can I assist with you today? Hello, you've reached the operations department of Michael's Business English, right? So department name is whatever the department is, whatever the company is. Now, you don't have to use these, and one question we ask you here is how would you answer the phone in your office? If you don't know, that's something you should find out. Now the other thing is that these are good for like general kind of conversations, but if you know someone that the person's calling you, like you probably wouldn't go like this. So for example, if someone called me and I knew them, I'd be like, hey John, how are you? And because certain phones will tell you the caller ID. So this is how you introduce yourself and asking for someone if you're looking to talk to someone in particular. So introducing oneself, if you don't know what that means this is how you introduce yourself. This is how you say hello, right? When you call the phone. Good morning, afternoon, evening. This is Michael Jones from company name. Could I speak to the person you really want to talk to? I'm calling on behalf of the company you represent. So for example, this makes more sense in certain B2B type situations. So when I was working in accounting, and working for the insurance company of Wells Fargo of accounting, one thing that we had to do was collect payments for insurance for other companies. So what we would do is we would call the companies and we would say, we would call the contacts of these companies and say, hello, I forgot the names of the companies to be honest, there are tons of them, but we would call the companies and say like, hey, this is Michael from Wells Fargo's Insurance Services. Could I please speak to, and the point of contact that we had, I'm calling because, instead of saying I'm calling on behalf of, I would say I'm calling because we have an outstanding payment due, like an outstanding invoice due, which meant that there was an invoice that needed to be paid. There was something they owed us money, and they hadn't paid it yet, so I was calling to follow up. Asking for someone. Can I have an extension number for a certain person? Can I speak to so-and-so's name? Can I speak to Michael? Is Michael in? Whoever the person you're trying to talk to. All right, so here's how you ask to repeat something. So if you're on the phone, you can't understand what someone's saying, this is when you would probably use it. You could also use this in conversation in general. If you talk to someone face to face, you can use this. But here are some examples you can use. Could you please speak more slowly? I'm sorry, I didn't catch / follow what you said. So I didn't catch that. I didn't catch what you said. I didn't follow what you said. Could you speak up a bit? Could you speak a bit louder? Could you speak a bit louder? Could you speak up a bit? Is that letter as in word beginning with letters? So like, is that C as in cat, right? So whenever I give my name, for example, I'll tell you, I'll say, my name is Michael Rincon. Our R-I-N as in Neptune, C-O-N as in Neptune. The reason I do that is I found that people have a hard time with the N's. I don't know why, but they understand when I say R or I say I. Sometimes you'll see people say like, it's A as in Alpha, B as in Bravo. There are different ways to do it. But the reason you're doing it this way, you're doing that so you can make sure you get the spelling correct. I think we have a bad connection. Can I call you back? I'm sorry, could you repeat that, please? So this is a great way to help native English speakers to slow down. So as you improve your hearing and you improve your listening skills, like immediately ask the person to speak slowly and repeat each piece of information as the person speaks, right? So like, could you please speak that more slowly? And they'll say, if we go back to your earlier slides, you'll see like, thank you, Mr. Rogers. Yes, I will let him know that message ASAP. I will call him back at this number. Like they'll actually repeat the words being used. All right, now it's time for the homework. Now, we probably didn't get to go through all of these because this slide was particularly lengthy compared to the other ones. So just do your best. Which idiom means that someone is currently busy? Is it tied up at the moment, has left for the day, he isn't in for today, is in today? Which one is that? Which multi-word verb means to put down the receiver of a phone? Hold on, hang up, get through to SB, call SB back. Is it hold on, hang up, right? So I don't think we covered these in the demo lesson, unfortunately. Let me just find another way. Here's the other one. Which is a polite request to leave a message? Could I take a message? Could you tell him that I called, please? Can I have him call you back later? Let's see. Which is an incorrect use of the structure? We did cover that one. Which is an impolite way to ask someone to repeat something on the telephone? We just covered this one, so which of these is bad, right? So could you speak more slowly, please? Is that polite or impolite? Slow down, I can't hear you. Is that polite or impolite? I'm sorry, I didn't catch what you just said. So is that polite or impolite? And for those who don't know what polite or impolite means, polite means nice. It's another way of saying formal and businesslike. Impolite is mean, informal, casual, hurtful, careless, right? So which of these is the impolite way? And here's a hint. Go back to the demo lesson and go watch the slide where I cover the ways to ask someone to repeat something on the telephone for the examples that we used. So here's some more situations that we can do some freeform writing. You were trying to get through to a client. After 3 rings, you hear a message announcing that he is on leave for another 2 weeks. Leave a message that requests him to return your call as soon as possible to save the reason for the urgency. So this is just a freeform exercise where you're going to leave a message. You have to write it out, but you can't do the voice message. So it's like, we have to come up with a reason for it. So let's say, like, this is an interesting example for me. Let me just, so I have clients, right? So let me try and figure out this one. So, hey, John, this is Michael from Michael's Business English. Sorry to call you on leave, but please return me ASAP. Remember we talked about ASAP stands for ASAP because your credit card did not go through. Your credit card payment did not go through. Go through. We'll have to cancel your lessons. Through. And we cannot, about to run out of room, so we cannot process. Oh, cool. Yeah, payment. All right, so see if we answer the question. Here's my client. No, I don't have a client named John. I just made that up. I said who I am. I introduced myself. Person name from company name. I was apologetic in this case. You don't have to do that. It's not required to be apologetic. It's something I do. Sorry to call while you are on leave. That's something I do with my clients. But please call me ASAP, right? As soon as possible. Remember here, as soon as possible. because your credit card payment, and here's the reason for the urgency, your credit card payment did not go through and we cannot process your payment. Uh-oh. If he can't process payment, that means we're going to have to cancel his lessons. So, interesting stuff. Now, here's an example. You're a receptionist and your boss is out for lunch. An important client is on the phone. They want to talk to the boss. So this is something my receptionist would say. I'll give this over to my receptionist to see how she handles it. The client's like calling my receptionist and the client's trying to get in touch with me. What should my receptionist say to the client? Sorry, Michael's not in. Michael's out at the moment. Or maybe not in at the moment, right? You can use it or those. Moment. Can I take a message for you? Is an example you can use. Write what you would tell your employer. Now, here's one more thing. Don't just copy what I'm saying, by the way. Like, that's not going to help you. You're not going to get better if you just copy what I say. These are examples for you to use. Do your best to actually write out the homework. And this is a good learning opportunity because if you don't know how to spell something, you don't know what the words you should use, then you go online and you go Google, or you come to the community and you say, hey, I need some more help, and we can talk about that. This is how you get better. Learning through failure is how you grow. You work for an IT company. On your way to work, you stopped your car outside to get coffee. Your car was stolen with, oh my god. Your car was stolen with a laptop inside. On the phone. Right, so this is a really interesting example. So, I hope you understand what's going on here. It's like, but your car was stolen with your laptop, and you have a client meeting today as a file, so you got to call your boss to tell your boss what happened and why it's important. All right, I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you enjoyed this example. I'll see you guys in class. Thank you.